So, half-time here in Portugal, and it is not the score that any of us wanted or predicted. Manchester City 0, Chelsea 1. We are in the stadium. I am with none other than Nader Manua, Kevin Horlock. Gents, the feeling is a little bit flat. Obviously, that is kind of not the end to the first half that we wanted. A little bit of a shock to the system, I feel. Assessment of those first 45 minutes, Nader?
I think overall they can play a lot better. I think for Chelsea, they're probably playing as good as they can play. So I think for City, it's just a disappointment that, say, one or two players haven't necessarily played up to their full potential just yet. But I think when they go in at half-time, they'll be disappointed with themselves, disappointed as a collective, and expect a strong reaction in the second half because, you know, these are the last 45 minutes of the season. You've got nothing to lose.
Yeah, it's important to remember, actually. I mean, Kev, it's not what any of us wanted, but I guess we take hope in that we've been here before a couple of times in this Champions League campaign, and we all know how it turned out.
Yeah, I'm going to stay positive. We called 3-1, 2-1. That's their one. I thought Manchester City were probably better in terms of with the ball, but Chelsea have had the better chances. We can't deny that. They looked dangerous on the break, which we all expected. And to get a goal so late on in the first half, yeah, it's made it a little bit flat. But I fancy us coming out all guns blazing. I'm going to stick with it. Manchester City win this game.
Yeah, we absolutely will, of course. There is, of course, though, the question that we have to ask now. You know, I've felt when watching it, I've been able to down there with my dad and my brother. We seem to be a body short a little bit in the middle at times. I've seen a couple of misplaced passes. Is there an argument to say, do we need that kind of Fernandinho or Rodri presence, Nader, or is it easy to say that when we're 1-0 down?
It's easy, I think it's easy to say while we're losing. I think in terms of, say, Chelsea on the break, then yeah, maybe that's a factor. But I think overall, in terms of what's going on in the centre of the field, I think Chelsea are trying to protect that section. I think they're trying to encourage City to go out wide. So maybe, you know, for some players in the middle of City needs to realise that it's a trap because a lot of the counter-attacks have come from City giving the ball away in that central section. So I don't think it necessarily requires another body, but it requires a better understanding and, to be honest, to just be more clinical, to not waste the ball, not waste possession, because as soon as they win, they're all guns blazing, and they've looked very dangerous when they've done that.
We talked about the attacking lineup, you know, and the statement of intent from Pep Guardiola, Kevin. But I've noticed, you know, Mahrez not really in the game. Foden's felt a little bit isolated. Kev's not been able to kind of get on the ball in the positions we want him to. How do we go about, do you think, maybe bringing those players into the game? What is it that we're not doing or should be trying to do?
Look, I think Chelsea have set up to stop that first and foremost, and you mentioned it. Them players, the big players for us going forward, haven't had enough of the ball in good areas and not performed yet. But we're half time. Let's stay positive. Do you bring on a Ferner and take a forward player off? It looks a little bit negative to me. I think he'll possibly stick with it now. Hopefully be front foot. Hopefully get them players that we've mentioned on the ball higher up the pitch. We have threatened, but no end product as yet. But I think it's going to come.
I think the key thing here for me is the fact that City know they can get better. You know, for Chelsea, like they're happy with that first half performance. But I think if City do get better, I think they become more clinical, and I think they go out and win this game. You
said about maybe bringing on a Fernandinho. I think there's a player that we're all maybe looking to. Nader, if we didn't want to do the negative options, you say, Kev, we want to do the positive.
He's itching, yeah. He's like this scoreline now almost tees it up, doesn't it? Yeah. Like Sergio Aguero he's ready to go. He's motivated. He knows he can make a big difference, and he always scores against Chelsea. So I would absolutely love to see him out there, but you know the timing's got to be right. The timing really does have to be right, and here in the stadium, I mean, the fans have been in fine voice. You know, actually, you know, from both sets, it has to be said, to be fair. But I do feel, don't know about you boys, that City have had the onus, I think, when it comes to the big choral singing. Okay, that is it from us in Porto. Nader and Kevin, thank you. Nat, and to the team back in Manchester, you're still looking as beautiful. And as Kevin said, we're keeping it positive. We'll turn it round. Let's hear what you guys made of that first half performance.
Keep the faith.
Thank you very much, Kel. Thanks, Jen. So they're looking a little bit flat there. We get that. We understand. But you are in the right place now if you want to get a quick pickup, because we are surrounded. I am currently surrounded by two gentlemen who know exactly what it's like to be losing, but then to bring it back and to win and to have that moment of glory. So you are in the right place for a instant pickup. Sean Gota, we have been here before. We have gone behind before in the quarters, in the semis, and we came back. We can do it again.
Yes, without doubt. I think, you know, a reflection looking at the first half, what comes to mind is getting the ball to Sterling in those one-on-one situations, because there's a couple of times he's gotten across him, and Gareth and I were actually talking a little bit earlier, and we were saying that It's his final touch. Once he's gotten across him, it's just really getting it out of his feet so he can get his body inside of him. But he's beaten him once or twice. So in the end, it's not worked out to be how he wanted it to. But Sterling looked to have gotten the better of him. Since then, he's now been able to press a bit further forward, and Reece has been able to show a bit of his offensive game. And I think we need to get the ball to Sterling. Nathan mentioned it earlier. De Bruyne, Foden, these guys get the ball in these pockets, facing forward, and then we start to see City.
Yeah, it's a fast game. It's been a bit frantic. It's been open. It's been end to end. But I like what Nadem said there, Gareth. I feel like Chelsea are playing at the best that they can, and I feel like we're not yet. And that is a positive if we're looking forward.
Yeah, well, I think he was spot on. I think, like you say, I think that Chelsea have kind of assumed a bit more pressure as the half has gone on, and the goal that they scored was classic counter-attack that they were looking for, but it was more of a build-up, and I think it was that chip ball from Mendy into the wide player, into the fullback, and Kyle's got attracted to it, and then all of a sudden Alex is not covered across. John's gone across, Ruben's gone across, and the gaps in between were quite big. So it'd be disappointing from that perspective. But I think, look, the positives are City have controlled most of the game. We need to try and create a few more chances around the edge of the box. Phil got in once, which was good to see. But they've lost Silva. You know, they've lost their talisman, their captain. I think it's not a time to panic. I think let's keep moving the ball around like we are doing. Just make sure we don't make those kind of unforced errors and then allow them the counter-attacks, because they have got dangerous players.
Stephen, do you think we're going to see any immediate changes at half-time, or do you think we might sit for be a bit patient for another 10, 15, 20 minutes before anything might change?
That's what Pep usually does. He's not one to kind of rush or panic, Pep Guardiola. I mean, he sees things that none of us probably see anyway, if we're being honest. But I think we'll see some changes eventually. I mean, the City fan in me is wanting Fernandinho on there. He wanted a bit of captain spirit out there. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it's time to panic. I think it's time to essentially just kind of, I'm sure there'll be words said in the dressing, relatively strong, but probably fair as well from some players. And as you were saying, like this is a club that feeds off this anyway in general. Like we do make it hard for ourselves. We have been here before. Always 93-20. Obviously these two were in a team as well. And then of course even the semi-finals and then the quarterfinals, we don't do it the easy way. And typical City exists for a reason. But this set of players are absolutely fantastic, and they will know as well. And that's what gives me hope personally. They will know that they haven't been at their best so far. And it's probably fair to say that, but I do expect a reaction because it's the last 45 minutes of the season. Of course, there will be a reaction from these players, and we will get a chance. And then it just comes down to a little bit of quality. But if anyone's got that, it's De Bruyne, it's Foden, it's Mahrez. Let's get Gundogan a bit higher as well. So I would like to see personally.
And Pep said as well, didn't he, that there's going to be moments in a final like this where you're going to suffer. You know, let's hope we don't suffer too much more in the second half. But you know, you've got to accept that they're a good team, Chelsea.
Yeah, I mean, if you're sitting in that dressing room right now, you look around. If you're in a game like this, you're halftime, you're 1-0 down. If any dressing room you want to be in, you want to be in that Man City dressing room, because you could look around to your left, right, straight across from you, and you know you have got winners, and that's an important part.
And these guys have proved it time and time again. They've proved it before, so I'm sure they'll do it again this time.
With your
Fingers
managers,
crossed.
yes, we will. Why do it easy? I love that. Why do it easy? Come on, let's.
That's
you know,
boring
yeah,
that
it's
way, isn't
boring
it?
that way. It'll
Boring.
be fine. With your manager's head on, what do you think is happening in the changing room now at halftime? What sort of talk do you think Pep is giving? And are the players talking to each other as well? What do you think's happening?
Yeah, I think so. I think this team's been together for a long time now. You know, Pep's got an established dressing room. He's got good characters in there. I'm sure he'll be really strong and he'll be vocal in what he wants to see. But certainly the players, they're the players who, you know, Pep will always say that they're the ones who've got to go out and cross the white line, and they have to be in control of one another and control of the game. And I think that you've got real good leadership within there, not just with Fernandinho. We've got other really good leaders in there, and they've played in these big games. They're used to being here, and they're used to winning trophies. So this is a bump in the road, and hopefully we can go out in the second half and establish our game and turn it around.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, we know wherever you are in the world, you're feeling this pain right now. We are sending you our good wishes. We're sending you positivity. We're sending you the spirit of 99 from the We're Not Really Here studio. That's Braden and his dad. Yeah, pretty much. If I'd had a pillow, it would be on my head right now as well. And there is Captain Doug, our astronaut. Yep, he's feeling it as well. Captain Doug, don't worry, don't worry. The spirit of 99. I'm loving his De Bruyne shirt framed there in the background. But I know I keep saying it, but I genuinely believe it. You know, the spirit of 99, the spirit of 93-20, from the quarterfinals, from the semi-finals. If we are a club that can come back and go on to win, it is us. If there's any club, it is us. I still believe. Sean, what are you expecting is going to happen in this next 45 minutes?
I expect a lot more control. I think the one thing Pep will be disappointed in is the amount of possession Chelsea's been allowed to have. That's with us giving the ball away. So therefore, they've been able to counterattack. So I think he'll be saying, listen, when we're making these passes, these threaded passes in the midfield, forward in that middle third, we have to make sure that they get there. And that will reduce the amount of times they're able to counterattack us. I think that'll learn. He'll want the players to continue as is because that'll give us more confidence. The more we're on the ball and the less they are, the more they become a counter-attack team, meaning get it and try to counter-attack because they've had it so little. So for me, I think that'll be his most important point, which will then dominate second half.
And just a quick word on the atmosphere here as well, gents. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. To all those in Porto, you lucky people, we hope you're having, enjoying it as much as you can. We can hear you singing, we can hear it wherever you are around the world. But here in Manchester, Gareth, the atmosphere is incredible.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Special.
I just want to see a goal. I mean, if we score a goal, this place is just going to erupt, and it'll be amazing to see. So fingers crossed we can get there because it's there's positivity still in there. You can see it with the crowd. There's real positivity, and hopefully we can. Yeah, look at the sun. The sun setting over the top of the Etihad there.
Absolutely beautiful view here in Manchester. So it is Chelsea 1, City 0 as it stands in the Champions League final. But there is 45 minutes to go. We know we don't even need 45 minutes. We need a couple of minutes of genius, and we can do it. I believe, I hope you believe, our last 45 minutes of the season. Here we go, Blues. Come on, City.